Station. Come on in, kings and queens, as we get started. You're watching my journal. I'm Steffanie Rivers. Just trying to welcome some other viewers. Again, I'm Steffanie Rivers, and this is my journal. And if you are new to the conversation, we want to welcome you. If you are returning, we want to welcome you back. This is a TriCast, so you might be watching me on LinkedIn or YouTube or Facebook Live. Either way, we want you to join the conversation as we get started today. And be sure to like, share, and subscribe if this is something, which I know it is, that you want to get on notifications as we go live every Sunday around this time. Try to go live. Or if you know someone who needs to hear this information. So for the last 10 months, almost a year, for the last 10 months, it's been a roller coaster ride with the COVID-19 virus turning into a pandemic. Jobs have been lost. Businesses have opened and closed and opened again and scaled back. And you've got kids going in and out of school. Changes have been occurring, but guess what? And you probably know this if you were a regular church goer, churches stayed closed the whole time. And even liquor stores stayed open the whole time. Weed dispensaries stayed open the whole time, and gun ranges stayed open the whole time. So that lets you know where the priorities lie for the leaders here in America. There was no church, no schools, no jobs, but you could drink liquor, smoke weed, and shoot guns. So that's where the priorities lie. Now, also the priorities lie in the sports, professional sports. They didn't stop their regularly scheduled events because that's how they get paid. They have to, when they have these contracts, they have to perform something. They have to have something. So even as you see now with a lot of these pro sports teams, the players are coming down with COVID and they're switching out, letting people on the practice team take their place because they can't cancel the game, or they could, but they wouldn't get paid. And since it's all about money, power, and respect, that's why you see these games continuing to be played, and they will continue to be played despite the COVID outbreaks. Now, you probably have known this. It's been since this summer that NFL Hall of Fame cornerback Deion Sanders was named the head football coach at Jackson State University. Now, we know Jackson State University is a historically Black college university. It's a HBCU. I graduated from Tennessee State University myself in Nashville, Tennessee. And I know a lot of you graduated from a Black college or university. And since that time, it seems there are a lot of standout high school players that were considering going to a predominantly white university. They have changed courses, and they either signed with Jackson State, or they are now looking at Jackson State University in Jackson, Mississippi, where Deion is now the head coach, where they had not considered that as a move before. And a lot of these coaches at these white universities are trying to, and have that, they consistently go to the young Black kids to play ball at their universities for a number of reasons. They know that, if you get the top players, that's going to translate into money, essentially. When you get the top players, you're going to get the alumni to pay attention and to donate more. You're going to get fans. You're going to get fans in the seats and fans the ticket sales, you're going to get the merchandise sales. And so the coaches who are able to recruit the top players, they also get a larger check themselves, a larger contract for themselves. They could possibly get shoe endorsements. It's a lot of money that colleges make off of these top chip, blue chip players. And here's the thing: if you look at it, a lot of these white colleges, if you look at the players, the rosters, a lot of the players are Black players. Okay. And so they know that if they grab these top players, which most of them are Black, and they have winning records for their colleges, then that means they get to go to the bowl games, and that means even more money. Which another issue of that is, they hold these student athletes to such strict policies whereby they can't make money off of their names. But the colleges and these sports outlets, whether it's Nike or Adidas or what have you, they can use the images of these student athletes, but they can get paid millions of dollars. They're stopping the athletes from getting paid millions of dollars. But that's a whole nother thing, because I'm talking about Black players going to white universities, drawing all the money to the white universities. Now, a lot of us, around this time, we start to watch the bowl games of the colleges. So I did some research in 2019 to 2020, the bowl games that were at the end of 2019 and beginning of this year, 2020, those bowl games, the colleges and their conferences that were that played in those bowl games made over $448 million. $448 million that the colleges made, their conferences made, like the Pac-10, or is it the Big Ten? Those different conferences, that's what I mean. They made millions of dollars for the colleges and their conferences. And that was based on, there's a playoff appearance fee. So if your team makes it to a bowl game, you get a certain amount of money out of that pot, which includes ticket sales and it includes merchandise sales, because everybody wants to wear the number of the star player. So they make a ton of money. In close almost $500 million. So with that comes money, power, and respect. Because if you have the money, then you can make some calls as far as if your games are played on TV. If you win the games, then they want you to be on TV, because now the networks get to make money off of those teams. And then that money leads to more power, and you get to recruit more, and you get respect more, because now everybody knows your name. So money, power, respect. That's why these colleges want the top players, and it makes sense. But here's the thing. Now that Deion Sanders has taken his name, his brand, to a Black university and is the head coach, now a lot of these top tier recruits who normally would be just interested in going to a predominantly white university, now they're looking at HBCUs. And my question is, why would it take a Deion Sanders to bring his name and influence for us to realize, for parents of these athletes and the athletes themselves to realize, hey, why don't I look at one of these Black universities? Why don't I look at the university around the corner from the big white school? Because, and I'll answer that question, because the white universities have the better facilities, they have the more funding for the different programs, And for some reason, we feel like we've got to go there because that's going to get us the attention as a student athlete that we need for us to get into the pros. So when you look at the pros and you look at some of the colleges when they put their names up there and they tout where they went to school, a lot of them went to white universities, but some of them took the chance and went to a Black university. It's kind of like, and if you look at it, if you strategically look at it, when you're trying to compete for an NFL spot or any spot, you might want to ask yourself, do I want to be a little fish in a big pond, which would be a white university where there's more talent around me and I might not be seen, or do I want to go to be the big fish in a little pond, which would be a Black university, and there's not much talent because they all went to the white school. So you have to be strategic because these white universities are being very strategic when they recruit our Black men, young men, to play for them. Now, as I was saying, because I always write myself some notes so I won't forget. But here's the thing. If you look at last year, well, earlier in 2020, January 2020, the national championship, it was played between Louisiana State University and Clemson University. Now, Louisiana State is in Baton Rouge. Clemson is in Clemson, South Carolina. So I did some research. If you look at those two colleges, the top on LSU's team, the top 15 players of the top 15 players on the football team, all of them are Black, but 2 of the players. So 13 of them are Black young men. On Clemson's team, of the 15 top players, 10 of the top 15 players are Black. So here's the thing. If these 13 players that went to Louisiana State and the 10 players that went to Clemson, if those 13 Black players at LSU went up the street to Southern University, that's the historically Black college in Baton Rouge, if they went to Southern, what kind of recognition would that give Southern University? If the 10 Black players that went to Clemson, and I'm not too familiar with where Clemson is in relation to other Black colleges, but I know there are at least 5 or 6 Black colleges in South Carolina that could have used the talents of those 10 Black players that chose Clemson over another college. And so my point is, when you look at the benefits of going to a white university for these student athletes, they are the draw. They bring the talent, which brings the wins, which brings the TV spots, the TV time, airtime, which brings the bowl game wins, which brings the money, which brings the power, which brings the respect. So I think that historically Black colleges and universities have been missing out on millions of dollars because they have given away their power, and we are essentially disrespecting what we have built at these Black colleges and universities, when we need to realize we are the power. You got the power within you. They came to you to get the power, and you gave it to them. And now they get all the money, and they get all the power, and they get all the respect. So that's why it's important for us to understand the game and understand strategy. And here's something else that recently came up, and you might have heard about this. And essentially, These colleges wouldn't give a, if they saw these black guys on the street, they wouldn't give a damn about them. They only care because you're wearing their jersey and you're bringing attention to their school. Case in point, it was just this in November last month. He's Coy Moore. Coy Moore. He's an LSU wide receiver. He's a freshman. He talked about on his social media platforms how he was driving down the street in Baton Rouge, got pulled over by the Baton Rouge Police Department. They pulled guns on him, claimed they were looking for drugs. He didn't have any guns, he didn't have any drugs, but they claimed that's what they were looking for. And he says he believes they would have shot him had he not told them he played for Louisiana State University. And then that's when their attitudes changed about how they treated him. So because he's a standout football player for the white school, they treated him better than before they knew that. Before they knew that he was just some black dude in a car driving that they thought they could bully and lie on and possibly kill. Think about that. So they don't care about you. They only use you for what you can give to them. And then they throw you away. So instead of giving your time and talent to people who have already proven, if this year alone, if they didn't prove nothing, they've proven that they don't care enough about you to care that video is on them, to care that they got cams. And that reminds me, after young Coy came out with this story and everybody started to pay attention and investigate, they went to the Baton Rouge Police Department to try to get them to release the police cam. They said no, they ain't releasing no cam video. I wonder why. Because of course he's telling the truth and they are liars, but they don't want to admit that. So now those police officers have been put on administrative leave while they investigate. That's the same as saying they getting paid still. So we are essentially funding our own legalized genocide by paying taxes to the police departments who hire these bully, liar, killer cops, which is why I am all about defund the police and redirect those funds to community policing, which is a whole nother story. It just led me to that because I'm really here to talk about our money, power, and respect that we give away when we parents and when we student athletes take our talent to white universities. Now, that's not to say that's all we have to offer, because these Black colleges and universities offer great programs. But of course, it takes money to get these programs to be the best they can be and be competitive with other colleges and universities and be competitive with the white college around the corner. So that's why we need to realize that the great programs that we seek, the best sports arenas, college sports arenas that we want to play in, the TV airtime that we crave, they're here to see us. They're not here to go. Wherever we are is where the money is and where the power is and where the TV airtime is going to be. So we need to redirect our funds to the people who care about us most and want us to succeed beyond just being a football player or a basketball player for 4 years and then they throw you away and then they have no use for you and they don't even help you. They pass you through class. They don't even make sure that you can read. They don't even make sure that you have viable skills. So when you graduate, if in case you don't make it to the NFL or the National Basketball Association, the NBA, or to play pro baseball, you still have the skills to start your own business, create your own brand, and create multiple streams of income so that whatever happens, whoever is in the White House, you don't have to worry about it because you have your own business with multiple streams of income. So let me ask you, tell me how you feel about sending your children to HBCUs. Would you do it? And again, I'm a graduate of Tennessee State University in Nashville, Tennessee. And a lot of my high school friends went to TSU. I grew up in Knoxville, which is the home of University of Tennessee, the volunteers. So a lot of, a few of my high school classmates graduated from UT as well. And then there's Knoxville College, another HBCU. Some of them went to KC. And so, it's just, I know personally for me, my mother went to TSU. So that is one of the reasons I chose TSU. But I wanted to just leave home. I didn't want to stay in Knoxville. When you're young, you want to do something different. You want to see new things. And so I certainly understand how a student athlete wants to go on the big stage. They want to be better than they think they used to be. So really it's up to parents to make an educated decision and a strategic decision to not be lulled into the thinking that, my kid has to go to the big white school in order for them to get the contract to go to the pro sports, so I can, so we can reap the benefits of that, because those benefits still can come even if they choose to go to Jackson State University. There are a lot of standout football players that went to Jackson State University, and most of them are older than me. So that was like 40 years ago. But Walter Payton is one of the most notable Jackson State University alumnus, and he played for Chicago for a number of years and was a Hall of Famer, and that didn't stop him from being well known. And so if you do your research, there are a lot of standout Hall of Fame football players and basketball players that graduated from historically Black colleges and universities. So the more that we realize our power and we pull our resources to take back our talent and put it where we can build our community, the better off we'll be. So if you have a young student athlete, or you in your family, or you are considering going to White College University, and you might not have even thought of it like that. You might have just thought they trying to recruit me. The girls are cute over there. They got this going on. The coach, and a lot of it has to do with the coach and how you feel about the coaches. So I would just say, do your research and realize that you don't have to go to where the action is. You are the action, and you can create the action wherever you go. And so that's it. Know your power, know your worth. To find out more about the things that I care about, go to the written version of my journal, and that's at eurweb.com. Thanks, and have a super day.